When you begin to walk in the path that God has set before you, one of the most challenging realities you may face is the reaction of those closest to you, especially family members. Keynote number 1 is that your spiritual growth exposes hidden insecurities within family members. This is a truth that many chosen ones struggle to accept because it often comes with emotional pain, confusion, and a sense of betrayal. It is natural to assume that the people who have known you the longest, who have shared your upbringing and your experiences, would be the first to support and celebrate your achievements. However, the journey of spiritual awakening and personal growth has a way of revealing truths that were previously hidden, not only within you but also within those around you. As you begin to step into your God-given purpose, certain dynamics in your family shift. Old patterns of behavior, unresolved conflicts, and buried insecurities begin to surface, and these can manifest as resentment, jealousy, or even outright hostility. Many times, family members who appear supportive on the surface may feel threatened by the changes they see in you. Your growth acts like a mirror, reflecting not only your own potential but also the limitations, fears, and unhealed wounds in those closest to you. This reflection can be uncomfortable for them, because it forces them to confront aspects of themselves they may have ignored or suppressed. The discomfort often translates into negative behaviors, such as criticism, passive-aggressive comments, or attempts to undermine your confidence. It is not that they inherently hate you, it is that your light exposes the areas in their own lives where they feel inadequate or left behind. When you start making decisions that align with your spiritual values, those choices may conflict with family expectations or traditions. Family members may have grown accustomed to a version of you that fit within certain boundaries, and your growth challenges that familiar dynamic. For example, if you start pursuing a career, ministry, or lifestyle that is radically different from what they envisioned for you, it can trigger feelings of fear and insecurity in them. They may worry about your safety, your success, or even their own reputations, and these fears can manifest as resentment toward you. Often, the deeper the calling and the greater the purpose, the more intense the reactions from those who are closest to you. Family members may unconsciously project their own insecurities onto you, seeing your progress as a reminder of their unfulfilled dreams or missed opportunities. This projection can make it difficult for them to celebrate your achievements, because doing so would force them to acknowledge their own shortcomings. Many chosen ones experience moments of isolation and misunderstanding within their families for this reason. It can feel like no matter how much you try to explain yourself, your intentions, or your vision, there is a barrier that prevents your family from fully understanding or accepting your path. Spiritual growth is not just about learning new skills or gaining wisdom, it is also about developing resilience and discernment. You begin to recognize that not everyone who criticizes you is against you in a malicious way. Some people's negative reactions are born out of fear, insecurity, or a lack of understanding. This awareness allows you to respond with patience and compassion, even when their words or actions sting. Over time, you may notice patterns in how family members react to your growth. Certain topics, choices, or behaviors may consistently trigger discomfort or conflict. These patterns are not coincidences, they are reflections of deeper insecurities that your presence and progress bring to the surface. As you continue to walk in your calling, you will encounter situations where your family's insecurities clash with your own values or direction. You may have to make difficult decisions, such as setting boundaries, limiting certain interactions, or even stepping away from toxic influences, in order to protect your peace and continue your spiritual development. Recognizing that their insecurities are at the root of their behavior can help you approach these situations with clarity and without unnecessary guilt. Your growth, when approached with humility and faith, can also become a catalyst for transformation within your family. By staying true to your path and demonstrating integrity, patience, and unwavering faith, you create an example that can inspire reflection and eventual change in those around you. However, this does not happen instantly, and it often requires distance, prayer, and discernment. Some family members may never fully understand or accept the changes in you, and that is a reality you must be prepared to face. Understanding that your spiritual journey will inevitably expose hidden insecurities within those closest to you allows you to navigate these relationships with wisdom. You begin to prioritize your relationship with God over the need for approval or validation from others. This perspective empowers you to remain steadfast in your calling, even when it feels like you are walking alone. The more you grow, the more apparent it becomes that true support and encouragement often come from those who resonate with your vision, rather than those who are simply tied to you by blood. While it is natural to desire acceptance from your family, it is equally important to recognize that their inability to fully celebrate your growth is not a reflection of your worth or your progress. It is a reflection of their own journey, their own fears, and their own insecurities that your light has illuminated. This understanding allows you to approach family dynamics with empathy, while also maintaining the boundaries necessary to protect your spiritual, emotional, and mental well-being. Being aware of this truth gives you the strength to persevere, knowing that your purpose and calling are bigger than any temporary resistance or misunderstanding from those closest to you. The path of a chosen one is never meant to be easy, and part of that challenge is learning to navigate the complexities of family relationships when growth exposes truths that were once hidden, guiding you toward greater maturity, wisdom, and alignment with God's plan. Why am I not pursuing my dreams the way they are pursuing theirs? Your growth inadvertently becomes a catalyst for self-examination in others, which can be uncomfortable for those unwilling to confront their own limitations. One of the reasons your refusal to stay small causes tension is that it exposes the difference between obedience to God's purpose and conformity to human expectation. Many family members are conditioned to value stability, safety, or tradition over faith-driven risk and ambition. When you choose to act in alignment with divine guidance rather than familial comfort zones, you challenge these values. This often leads to criticism, doubt, or discouragement directed at you, not because your path is wrong, but because it disrupts the familiar framework they have relied upon for years. Your pursuit of purpose can also highlight generational mistakes, mismanagement, or missed opportunities that they may have normalized or ignored. This is why you may encounter family members who subtly or overtly resist your growth. Their resistance is rooted not in your character, but in the disruption of a pattern that has been unchallenged for decades. As you continue to grow, you begin to recognize that these reactions are not a reflection of your failure but a sign that you are stepping into your true calling. Every decision you make to walk boldly in your faith, every action you take to pursue your God-given vision, and every boundary you set to protect your spiritual and emotional health is part of breaking generational cycles. Your refusal to stay small creates a ripple effect that can inspire future generations in ways you may not immediately see. You become a living example of what is possible when faith, courage, and obedience align. This is why your journey may feel lonely at times, because breaking patterns is not comfortable, and those who are still entangled in old cycles may struggle to understand your vision. They may try to hold you back, question your choices, or even attempt to make you feel guilty for stepping into your calling. Your challenge is to remain steadfast in your purpose while maintaining compassion for their limitations. Understanding that your refusal to stay small is a spiritual act as well as a generational one helps you approach these situations with clarity and wisdom. You are not just living for yourself, you are paving the way for future generations to think bigger, act boldly, and embrace the potential that God has placed within them. The disruption you create is necessary, even if it is met with resistance. This disruption often comes with spiritual, emotional, and mental challenges. You may face criticism, skepticism, or even sabotage from those who feel threatened by your growth. Yet, these challenges are part of the process of breaking free from patterns that have persisted for generations. Each time you overcome doubt, fear, or criticism, you reinforce a new pattern of faith, courage, and obedience. It is important to understand that this process is not meant to punish or alienate you but to refine your character, strengthen your resolve, and solidify your commitment to God's purpose. The impact of refusing to stay small extends beyond personal success. It influences the mindset, beliefs, and actions of those who observe your journey. Children, nieces, nephews, and younger relatives may begin to see possibilities they never considered, and even older family members may eventually be inspired to confront their own limitations. By disrupting generational patterns, you become a spiritual trailblazer within your family, demonstrating that it is possible to honor God's plan while transcending the boundaries set by tradition, fear, or complacency. Your life becomes a testament to courage, faith, and divine purpose, showing that breaking cycles is not only possible but necessary for growth, freedom, and fulfillment. This truth is difficult for many to accept. Because the comfort of the familiar is deeply ingrained, and change often feels threatening, even when it leads to life and blessing. By staying committed to refusing smallness, you continue to challenge, inspire, and elevate not only yourself but the legacy of your family in ways that will echo long into the future, making it clear that generational change begins with one person willing to step boldly into the calling God has given them. God-given calling creates unavoidable separation. As a chosen one of the most profound and sometimes painful aspects of your journey is understanding that walking in your divine purpose will naturally set you apart from people, including those you love and have known your entire life. This separation is not a matter of choice in the conventional sense, it is a spiritual necessity designed to protect your growth, preserve your focus, and align your life with God's plan. When God calls someone to a specific path, He often requires a level of clarity, discipline, and alignment that cannot coexist with all previous relationships, environments, or influences. Many chosen ones find that as they pursue their calling, they begin to outgrow certain friendships, professional associations, and even family dynamics. This is not because of malice, selfishness, or arrogance. It is because the energy, mindset, and spiritual vibration required to fulfill your calling are different from what some people are accustomed to or capable of supporting. Your calling demands a focus that cannot be diluted by negativity, doubt, or distractions. Those who are not aligned with this purpose may react in ways that make the separation necessary. Some may feel threatened by your progress, some may misunderstand your intentions, and others may simply be unable to relate to the level of vision, commitment, and faith that your path requires. This creates a natural distance, both emotionally and spiritually, that cannot be avoided without compromising your destiny. Separation in this context is not a punishment, it is a protection. It is God's way of ensuring that you have the environment and relationships necessary to thrive in your calling. Many chosen ones initially struggle with guilt or confusion when they experience this distancing from loved ones. They may wonder why God allows their family, friends, or close acquaintances to drift away at a time when they feel they need support the most. The truth is that the separation is intentional and essential. It allows you to focus on the development of your spiritual gifts, your character, and the unique mission God has placed in your heart without interference from forces that could derail your progress. Often, this separation is subtle at first. It may begin with minor disagreements, feelings of disconnection, or the realization that your conversations and priorities are no longer in sync with certain people. Over time, however, the separation becomes more pronounced, as God realigns your environment to match your elevated purpose. You may find that doors close where you once expected access, that relationships fade despite your efforts, and that certain people, while not necessarily opposed to you, are no longer part of the life God is orchestrating for you. This is a test of discernment, faith, and obedience. Understanding that your calling naturally produces separation allows you to approach these experiences with peace instead of fear. Instead of feeling rejected or abandoned, you can recognize that God is orchestrating a higher order, positioning you among the people, opportunities, and environments that will accelerate your growth and fulfill your destiny. Separation also serves as a form of protection from distractions, negative influences, and misaligned energies. In order to achieve your God-given purpose, you must operate at a level of spiritual and mental clarity that is incompatible with certain relationships or environments. Those who are not aligned with your calling may unintentionally hinder your progress, whether through doubt, criticism, or a lack of understanding. By creating a natural space between you and these influences, God ensures that your focus remains sharp and that your path forward is unobstructed. While separation can feel isolating, it is also an opportunity for divine intimacy and personal transformation. It forces you to rely more fully on God, to seek His guidance for every decision, and to cultivate resilience, patience, and discernment. In the absence of old influences, you learn to trust the voice of God above all else, and this trust becomes the foundation of your success and fulfillment. It is important to recognize that not all separation is permanent. Some relationships may eventually realign as others grow into their own calling or as perspectives shift. However, in the season of preparation and purpose, the separation is intentional and necessary. Attempting to force alignment or maintain connections at the expense of your calling can slow your progress and create unnecessary conflict. This separation is often accompanied by feelings of loneliness, misunderstanding, or even grief. You may grieve the loss of closeness with people you once depended on or the absence of shared experiences that are no longer possible. It is normal to feel these emotions, but it is also essential to remember that God's plan is greater than personal comfort. Your calling requires sacrifices, and separation is one of the most profound sacrifices a chosen one may face. Over time, the clarity and peace that come from embracing separation outweigh the initial discomfort. You begin to understand that every distance, every door that closes, and every relationship that shifts is part of a divine strategy to align you with the people, opportunities, and circumstances that are essential for fulfilling your purpose. Recognizing this truth changes your perspective from one of fear or rejection to one of trust and faith. Separation is not an indication that you are unloved, undeserving, or failing. It is proof that you are moving in alignment with God's plan, that your path is unique, and that your calling cannot be fulfilled in the same way or with the same connections as everyone else. In fact, embracing separation allows you to develop spiritual discernment, emotional resilience, and clarity of purpose that are impossible to cultivate when surrounded by misaligned influences. Every chosen one will face seasons of separation in their journey. This may involve stepping away from toxic family dynamics, distancing from friendships that no longer support growth, or leaving behind environments that limit your potential. These moments are not signs of weakness or failure, they are markers of progress, evidence that your life is being orchestrated by a higher power with precision, wisdom, and love. Understanding that your God-given calling creates unavoidable separation empowers you to navigate life's challenges with confidence. You no longer fear loneliness or distance because you recognize these as essential tools for growth and alignment. You also gain compassion for those who may struggle to understand your journey, knowing that their inability to align with your path is not a reflection of your worth but of their own journey and limitations. Embracing this truth allows you to step fully into your destiny, free from the need for validation, approval, or understanding from others, and to walk boldly in the calling that God has placed uniquely on your life.